I got a box. And no, it is not frozen food. I do not have to keep this below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a purchase from eBay. I know it's in the box because I bought it, and I want to share that with you today on Tech Guy Life. All right, let's find out what's in the box. I took the tape off. This is exactly how it came from eBay. I have not actually removed the contents. I just removed the shipping label and all that kind of stuff. And the tape kind of came with it. So let's check out what's inside. I have wanted one of these for a little while, ever since I worked on one in one of my first videos ever. But that wasn't for me. That was for a friend of mine. So when I saw this on eBay, it was untested, and I said, I have to have it. So I bought it. Okay, I'll just take this over here. Here it is. Packed really nicely. Oh, gotta give it away. This is a ColecoVision Gemini. The ColecoVision Gemini is an Atari 2600 made by Coleco. Could you imagine if Microsoft made a PS5 and sold it to play PS5 games? People would just be like flabbergasted. But this was made by Coleco and played 2600 games. It was a direct competitor to the Atari 2600's own system. And it even came with Donkey Kong. Look at that. You know, the box is in pretty bad shape, but it's still really cool for a piece of history. And it's clearly a Canadian version because it has both French and English on it. And there's the price tag. I wonder if we can find out where it was bought and how much it was. Oh, I recognize that. I'm going to try to get this as close here as I can, and we'll see if we can get a real good zoom in. But it's from Simpsons. The Simpsons department store, which used to be, I think it was on its own, and then it became part of Sears in Canada. And it looks like they paid, it was on clearance for $99, I believe is what that is. But it looks like it was from Simpsons, and they paid $99 on clearance. I didn't pay $99 for this. All right, let's take it out and see. I already think that the package is incomplete. I think it only has one controller, but coincidentally, I got another controller at a video game store a while ago for $1. So I'll be able to complete it. So the styrofoam's got a little bit of staining on there. I don't know if that's just dirt or what, but let's open it up and take a look. And there it is. So here is the console itself. It's actually a really nice, like, this is what Atari should have gone for their console. Such an improved design. Here is the power supply and the one included controller. Like I said, there's supposed to be two, and the RF adapter, yeah, we don't care about the RF adapter. So it definitely needs a cleaning, that's for sure. One of the things I really liked about the system was the fact that the controllers have the paddle right on the controller, as opposed to having to plug in a whole different set of controllers to play a different type of game. I really thought that was a great idea. So, like I said, the unit is a bit dirty and grungy, but that's to be expected. In the one that I've repaired previously, the problem was the controller ports had broken solder joints. I'll put a link to that video up here somewhere in here, so you can see that old repair. I have no idea what we're going to encounter with this one, just simply because it's said to be untested, which could mean it's broken. But a lot of these consoles that just have RF outputs on them, nobody knows how to test them anymore. Nobody knows how to hook them up. So, but I think I want to do is I want to open this up first and I want to take a look at the inside just to make sure that there's nothing wrong before we power it up. So it's 6 Phillips screws on the bottom of the unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I think someone had been in here before because there are 3 different screws of 2 different lengths, and they were kind of all over the place. So I'm going to have to look up and see if I can figure out where they're supposed to go, whether the long ones go in the back or in the front, and vice versa. I would assume the long ones go in the back and the short ones go in the front because it's actually tapered, but who knows? All right, let's take this lid off and see what's happening inside. Okay, piece of cardboard and a piece of wood. There's a piece of wood stuck in near the power connector. So I'm wondering if the power connector was loose, because yeah, there's a whole ton of stuff. Yeah, there's just a ton of stuff packed in around the power connector. So I'm wondering if the power connector has some broken solder joints. So we will definitely have to check that out. So 4 screws to get the motherboard out. 1 there, 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 and there. Oh, it looks like the bottom shield is connected to the top. So we might have to take this shield out first. Yeah, foam stuck to there for around the power connector. More cardboard. Oh, there's another screw. Bunch of them, actually. So you have to take the metal shield off, and then that exposes the other screws. And there's 3 more. Oh yeah, that's super loose. So there's one fault we're going to have to fix right away. Yeah, just broken, cracked solder joints. Oh, looks like we might have to do some other work on here. Looks like we might have some broken traces on there. Lots of fun. But let's clean it up. We'll check the ports, and we'll look for other problems. Yeah, so this guy has about the same faults that the other one had. So if you look here, let's see if I can make it. You can see there, all of the pins for controller port 1 have broken away from the solder. And then, of course, we have the loose power jack, which we will take care of. Then I'm going to have to check continuity on these because it looks like there's been a bad trace and some work, and it looks like there's some glue on there. So I'm going to have to check all those solder connections and make sure they go to where they need to go. If not, get the traces refixed. So first we'll start with the easy stuff. Just going to reflow the second port anyway. And last but not least, the power connector. Okay, so we got our reflowed connectors and our fixed connector here. So now no longer moves. I like how they didn't trim anything. Like, look at these. They didn't trim off, like, hardly any of the ends. They just left them or bent them over. I did a visual inspection. I couldn't see any other problems, other than, of course, this abomination right here. Like a lot of the brown stuff is flux, but there's like a bubble there. I don't know if that's glue. Here, it's right right here. I don't know if that's old flux or if they put glue on it. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried glue, considering they tried, sticky foam to fix the power connector. Let's give this area a bit of a clean first before we start checking everything. Yeah, that little lump of stuff in here did not come off with IPA, so I'm pretty sure that's probably super glue. I'm hoping I can get my probe in there. Okay, managed to get the probe in there. Luckily, we have got nice pointy ends. We could get through the glue, and a little bit of the glue chipped off. And it appears that everything has continuity through there. I actually wonder if this was a factory bodge with controller port 1 not working and the power connector, loose like that. Was this ever really opened? Uh, who knows? So maybe this was a factory bodge. Although I can tell that there is flux all over the back of this thing. It is just sticky. We should probably try to clean the joystick port pins and all of the switches while we have this open. Would just make sense. All right, I think everything on this board is about as clean as it's ever going to get. Looks like it might have had some liquid in it at some point, because that's a heck of a lot of rust on the plastic case and on the bottom shield. It never got to the top of the shield, so it might have just been superficial liquid inside. So I cleaned up the bottom of the case, cleaned it all out, tried to get off as much of that rust as possible. It just wiped right off of the case. Put the shielding back in, and I'm going to put the motherboard back in. And I think I'm going to screw it down so that it doesn't go anywhere or move around on me. One tip for if you're ever using these types of like fixed threaded screws on old plastic is to, when you put them in, instead of just screwing down clockwise immediately, you're righty tighty, take it back to the left, and when you turn the screw, eventually it will pop down into the thread, just like that. You probably couldn't hear it or feel it, but you can feel it when it pops into the thread. Then go forward. This way you'll make sure that you're not tapping any new threads into the old plastic. And also, don't over tighten. Well, you might have actually heard that one. So I can tell the difference between the case screw holes and the motherboard screw holes, because the case ones are larger and they're just a pass through in order to get to the actual screw holes, which are on the top part of the lid. It is time to try and plug this in. But the first thing we want to do is we want to check the power adapter to make sure it's working. And we're getting, looks like 14 volts on a 9-volt power adapter, or a 10, I think it's supposed to be. So that seems high to me, but off camera, I checked my Atari one. It was kind of doing the same thing. I don't think these work well when there's load. They as soon as there's some load, they just drop right off. All right, let's try plugging it in. Okay, power is connected now. So let's see what we got here. So we got 13 volts going through the capacitor. So it's immediately dropped some of the voltage right away. As soon as it got plugged in, it dropped like a volt. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be okay here. All right, so grabbing a test cartridge. Let's go with, oh yeah, here we go. Good old classic Defender. Got it plugged in. Video capture is rolling. Here we go. And she works. Look at that. Perfect. Okay, let's try something else just to see. I got missile command sitting here. Oh, I wonder if we're getting sound. We should try that too. But for that, I'm going to have to hook up a controller. Hopefully this controller works. Oh, the button on the controller works. Oh, there we go. This game used to frustrate me as a kid because I didn't understand that you don't need to actually hit them. You just need to get the explosion to include the end of the missile. It's so much easier now. Cool. This system looks like it's working just fine. Joystick works. Video signal looks good. And, oh yeah, we got this classic. Oh, we gotta go this way. I have no idea how to play this game. Oh, I fell in a hole. Ugh. The collision mechanics on this game is terrible. Ugh. But that's it. I've had enough. Let's get the metal shield put back on. There was only one of these little black things. So I'll just put it back onto, I guess, the power switch. That's the coolest switch. Give the lid a good cleaning and it looks pretty good. Let's get these screws back in. There it is. Coleco Gemini all fixed up. We had to fix the power connector. We had to fix the controller port, all from broken solder, and just check out a couple of weird, I don't know if they were, factory bodges or if someone had actually repaired this previously, but there was a weird trace fix. But I still can't even believe that this console actually exists. The fact that Coleco went out and made an Atari 2600. They also made an add-on for their ColecoVision system to play 2600 games, and it was this, I think it was about the same size as this, but it's strapped onto the actual ColecoVision, which was a box that was probably twice the size of this. So if you could imagine having a box twice the size of this with a box this size slammed onto it in order to play 2600 games. It was a great idea. Just, I don't think it was executed properly. They could have done a better job of making it a tad smaller. If you get the ColecoVision with all the add-ons, that thing is huge. And this controller, if this wasn't just straight plastic, if this had been rubberized, this, in my opinion, is probably the best controller for the 2600 games. Like, just the fact of having the paddle and the joystick and the button on the side, this actually works, to me anyway, because obviously controllers are very much preference. This, to me, feels the best way of playing 2600 games rather than trying to hold the stick of the Atari 2600 controller. This just kind of feels more like what Nintendo would have done. But that's just my opinion. You can have yours and love whatever controller that you want to love. But this one is my favorite, especially for 2600 games. But that's it for this video. If you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell them all to like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.